From Blooper, seed number 6, Buzzy. Buzzy, the beef-themed robot with the 18 kg spinning disc. Can they manage to sting the life out of their opponents? From Alice, seed number 5, Jester. Nothing funny about this Jester with its two 20 kg spinning bars that are bound to destroy anything in its path. From Forgot, seed number 1, Ho Ho Ho. Spreading festive cheer as well as debris all over the arena, Ho 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 boasts a powerful 31 kg beta bar spinner. From Pony, seed number 3, Terrence 3. Terrence 3 arrives to the arena with that massive 38 kg bar spinner. Can Pony gallop through the competition? From Melissa, seed number 8, Solar Flare. This is the 6th iteration of Solar Flare, still boasting that front hinge flipper. Can they manage to burn their path to victory? From Ranking, seed number 7, Brutal Belial. Standing tall and boasting a 50 kg bar, Brutal Belial is hoping to batter their opponent into submission. From Liam, seed number 4, Stealth Genesis. All in black, Stealth Genesis is a wedge-shaped machine boasting a powerful full-pressure flipper, but can they manage to sneak away with the win? From I Go Unwillingly, seed number 2, Scarlet Tsunami. Scarlet Tsunami waves into the competition with a 20 kg disc. Can they leave their opponents high and dry? This is how the fights for round 1 are shaped out to be. We've got Melissa and Forgot in the first fight. Then we've got Liam versus Alice. Then I Go Unwillingly versus Ranking. And then Pony against Blooper. But to start it all off, let's go down to the arena where we have Ho 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 and Solar Flare ready to put themselves through absolute mayhem just to try and come out the winner. Here we go, starting off the tournament with the classic battle between Flipper and Spinner. But these two robots are a little bit different than the traditional Flipper and Spinner. Solar Flare is a front hinged flipper and Ho 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 is a beta drum spinner. However, it seems like they're relatively evenly matched at the moment. The big beta bar and the immensely powerful Solar Flare front hinged flipper that has thrown many competitors over the top of the walls in other tournaments. Can they do the same to all its other competitors in this tournament though? Doesn't seem like it can at the moment, but I'm putting that down to the fact that it can't quite get enough purchase to drive it over to that arena wall and throw it over. The pit is now active to be opened, but it doesn't seem like either want to win by pit. They would just want to destroy each other. And it seems like Ho 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 is doing a good job of that. With Solar Flare trapped up against the wall, they can't get themselves off there. It's going to have to start the countdown. Okay, they are now being helped off by Ho Ho Ho. A potentially somewhat foolish tactic, but it seems like they've come on from a good point here, managing to be able to make up for that by beating up Solar Flare just that little bit more. But both machines struggling with that entrapment pit, and Solar Flare especially is now trapped inside it. The entire point of that pit is to sort of snare other robots in so their opponents can come and lay down a leathering. However, Solar Flare seems to be getting off relatively well, but Ho 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 just keeps raining down the punishment. But now they're on the grid, and Solar Flare keeps coming back. If I were them, I'd have left them, but to each their own, I suppose. Now they're both stuck on the entrapment grid. How's this gonna go? Okay, they're both now off now. Solar Flare was a little bit hesitant to use that flipper, but then they got it into gear and delivered a magnificent throw on their opponent. Now they're both battling where the pit is. Thankfully it's not open, or else they'd both be out. But as we approach the last 30 seconds of this match, it might be going to the judges here. For me, I'd personally say ho ho ho, just based off of more damage. The pit now descending with 15 seconds to spare. This is still anybody's fight though. At the last 5 seconds of this battle, can one robot end up killing the other to advance definitely in this tournament? But no, it goes to the judges. And the winner of the first battle by a judge's decision is Ho Ho Ho. Tough break for Melissa and Solar Flare, however they put up an excellent fight, but Ho 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 eventually moves on to the next round. Now next up we have Stealth Genesis from Liam versus Jester from Alice. As we move into the second battle, we have another flipper spinner battle. Let's see how this ends up going. We got more conventional robots. Oh, and Stealth Genesis nearly throwing Jester out of the arena, and then Jester coming back with an amazing retaliation. Stealth Genesis looks a little dazed and confused, or are they just weary after being thrown across the arena by those double spinners? Seem to be having trouble with the entrapment grid though. Are Stealth Genesis stuck? But Jester also seems to be having problems. Are both machines immobile? Seems like Stealth Genesis making an effort to get off that entrapment grid, but it seems like both robots are immobile. They're both going to have to be counted down, and it seems like both are incapable of moving, so this fight is called to a close. After that first attempt at the fight, the judges have ruled that since both robots were immobile at relatively the same time, and neither could escape from their method of inability to move, the judges have decided that this match will be restarted. Okay, here we go, the second attempt at this fight, because both machines were immobile in the last one, so we will have to see how this turns out this time. One of the robots needs to definitively win, or at least make it 3 minutes, so that the judges can decide who wins overall in this fight and moves on to the next round, where they face Ho Ho Ho. Almost said Solar Flare there. No, it was Ho 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 from Forgot, I believe it was. But back to the battle at hand. Jester knocks something off of Stealth Genesis, and then Jester sent careening off by the impact of its own weaponry on Stealth Genesis. Oh, Jester doing a weird dance of intimidation by the looks of it. Stealth Genesis thrown to the wall again after that though. Need to get away from that wall if they don't want to get thrown over the top, as we see that it almost did in that first fight. And there's that flipper. Oh! Both robots now seemingly stuck together. Okay, untangled now. Saw something go flying. Oh my goodness. Jester not pulling its punches. That's what we like to see though. Stealth Genesis. Oh, they had problems with that grid before. Can they escape this? Yes, they can, with a little help from Jester's weaponry. The tenacity of both of these robots just going in for the kill, not caring about countouts. Oh, what an amazing throw, but Stealth Genesis Flipper has taken some damage there. It looks just superficial though, it still operates relatively well. And Genesis running into a wall, strangely. Odd tactics, boys, but okay. Oh, I will say Stealth Genesis was brilliant with its flips. Oh, getting a bit close to that pit though. Stealth Genesis, you need to get away from that grid. It's not served you well in the last battle. As we reach just under a minute left in this fight. Stealth Genesis with another amazing flip. Can they manage to get their opponent over that wall and out of the competition? But Jester seems to be unable to move. What's wrong? It's going to have to be counted out if it doesn't show any signs of movement. It's confirmed Jester has been counted out and Stealth Genesis will move on in the tournament. A hard-fought victory, but a victory nonetheless. Stealth Genesis sneaks through to the next round, even though it did take a restart of that match. Now we move on to Brutal Belial and Scarlet Tsunami. In the next battle, the Battle of the Spinners.
Go.
See how this ends up. Oh my goodness! Just 5 seconds and probably about 10 feet. Scarlet Tsunami crashes out and Brutal Belial goes storming through. Scarlet Tsunami never really had a chance at that fight. 5 seconds is all it took and one hit. Brutal Belial makes their way through to round 2. But who will join them? Terrence 3 or Buzzy? Okay, the next fight of this first round, I'd say more beneficial to lose because of that excellent display by Brutal Belial in the first round. But this is already longer than that fight because, well, everyone's still in the arena and it's been longer than 5 seconds. Buzzy putting on a relatively decent show of defense. Terrence sort of throwing itself around randomly, but good recovery. Both robots ripping chunks out of each other, and Buzzy, originally built as a house robot to keep featherweights in check in a battle of attrition, and they are putting up a good fight, using itself as a ramp to fling Terrence up and holding its own surprisingly well, and sort of pinning Terrence against the wall. They can't do that forever though, and they realise that, letting it go so they can get that wheel up to speed again. Wheel that spinning disc, sort of comparable to Aftershock's weapon from Robot Wars, but I don't think they ever put up a fight like this against another one of their opponents. But now a chunk of the wheel missing from Buzzy. I think there's another chunk missing from the wheel, as it's not seems to have potentially lost drive on one side. I mean, yes, Terrence is currently leant up against it again. Is this going to be another double count out situation? You see Buzzy attempting to move, Terrence just stuck there like a windmill basically. And it does seem... Oh, no, it seems we have movement. We do have movement in both machines. There we go, we're back on track for this fight. But Buzzy's wheel seems to have been decimated and discombobulated. And Terrence 3... Is that bar not working, or is it just being halted? No, it seems like it's not working. Buzzy... It's gone! The bar's gone! All of a sudden, Buzzy has a big shot now. If they can just manage to maneuver themselves into a position where they can land one hit potentially, this could all go in their favour. It might with the judges, although they are missing a wheel and seem to be struggling with movement. But Terrence 3's entire weapon has gone kaput. But it does seem like Buzzy are going to be counted out because they've not shown movement, and they have. Amazing fight put up by Buzzy. However, that decimated wheel caused their loss in the end. Terrence 3 go through. Now that the week have been cold, this is how round 2 looks. The semi-finals. We've got Ho 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 up against Stealth Genesis, and then Brutal Belial and Terrence 3. Let's see how Stealth Genesis can put up with that lethal beta bar of Ho 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 in the first battle. Okay, the first battle of round 2. Both put on an impressive display. Let's see how they can fare against each other now. Not a good start for Stealth Genesis, getting thrown around like a tin can in the street, being kicked. But they do seem to be back on their feet now, or well, wheels I should say. But now showing that their underside, not a good idea against the lethal... Oh my goodness, just being thrown around, and they seem to be not moving, because that'll be because one wheel is missing. One wheel on their wagon. So impressive in that first battle, sort of reminiscent of Iron Ore 8, but being thrown around, and they're out. They're out of the arena. Stealth Genesis manages to get through to the semi-finals, but crashes over the fence. What a display from Ho 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 and Forgot. Stealth Genesis sank catapulting over the screen, but it's not the last we'll see of them, as they'll come back for the third place playoffs at the end of the episode just before the grand final. But for now, we must say goodbye as Ho 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 moves on to the grand final. But now, let's see if Brutal Belial can continue that brilliant streak against Terrence 3. Okay, potentially the two biggest hitters of this heat, both have been drawn against each other. That's not good. One hit is all it took. It's ironic really, because that's all it took for Ranking to beat their last opponent in their first fight, but now it's taken one hit for Brutal Belial and they're on fire. But Terrence 3 has got himself stuck in that grid. However, it doesn't matter because Brutal Belial has been utterly decimated. So even if they were both cancelled out at the same time, which it seems like they are, Brutal Belial surely is going to be unable to fight again, because I'm guessing a battery has been hit and they're on fire and surely not coming back from that. Confirmation from the judges, even though both machines were immobile at the end of that fight, Brutal Belial is unable to repair themselves in the time needed to get themselves back into the arena. So Terrence 3 goes through to the final, but Brutal Belial will have to lick their wounds and prepare themselves for the third place playoff against Stealth Genesis. As it is Christmas and I am in the spirit of giving, I figured that we should give two of our heavyweight reserves a shot at glory, as there were only 8 spots for this tournament, and only the best managed to get into the main bracket. So, without further ado, your special event for this Christmas episode: Thorpe with Wormdrum against Angel with Hover. For this special event we have our house robot into the arena. Not just any house robot though, the biggest and baddest of them all. Now, do you find it visible when we say the name? Biggest Bottus with the crushing claw and 30kg hammer. It's Leonidas. From Angel, currently unseeded, Hover. Not too dissimilar from their opponent's Wormdrum, Hover boasts a 24kg drum spinner, but will be able to fly past their opponents. From Thorpe, currently unseeded, Wormdrum. Although not in the main bracket of the tournament, Wormdrum still looks impressive, boasting a 27kg drum spinner. Okay, our heavyweight reserves are in this fight. We've got Hover and Wormdrum. Leonidas making his way to his CPZ, where he cannot leave unless a robot is immobilized, and he cannot attack a robot unless they come into that area, or as I mentioned before, they are immobilized. Look at him. You don't want to get in his way with that flamethrower inside of the claw as well. And that massive hammer. Seems like both machines are stuck, so he can come in and, as non-violently as possible, break them up. Which, Leonidas, you've done a terrible job. Now you've done hovering, but they are back now, and they're doing a weird sort of gyroscopic dance as our big boy looks on. That pit can be open now, so any competitors might want to be careful if they're thinking of trying to drive and cross that. And now Hover drives into the CPZ, tries to take on our house robot, grinding away at his breastplate now, trying to discombobulate our Emperor. He will pay dearly for that, Hover. If you want a robot to come out of the arena, I'd suggest leaving him alone and fighting your opponent. And now they're in the CPZ again. Seems like, looks like part of Leonidas' claw has come off. But now he's got Hover. Picked him up and he's giving him a right flaming. Hover dropped now. And he still goes after Leonidas. Leonidas trying to run away. Leonidas opens the pit. And his claw has fallen off again. You're meant to be our Emperor. Yet you lose one of your weapons. That's right, you've got 2 more. You've got that flamethrower and the massive hammer. But Hover, I'd suggest fighting your opponent. He's your one you're in there to beat. There you go. Finally, you're beating your opponent up and not our house robots. Thanks for taking money out of my paycheck to pay for his repairs. He doesn't care. He's giving him a leathering. It's the least Hover deserves for trying to put our boy out of commission for good. And that signals the end of the fight. It's going to the judges. I'd say we need to give Leonidas some poor holiday bonus because of what he went through in that fight. He took a right leathering. Well, after our house robot was ever so slightly bullied, with both competitors only really fighting each other for like half of the fight and focusing on our boy for the rest of it, but the judges have decided that just on sheer damage alone, Hover have gone through. Now back to the main competition. We're going to have our 3rd place playoff, and then it's on to the grand final between Ho 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 and Terrence 3. Before we get there though, we have Stealth Genesis and Brutal Bilyal trying to put each other out of commission for 3rd place. In the war for 3rd place, we've got Brutal Bilyal and Stealth Genesis, both of which were utterly dominated in their fights by the 2 finalists, but not robots to be sneezed at. They are both very capable, but can they beat each other to claim 3rd? Stealth Genesis seems to have lost its ability to drive. And from the brink, from Oblivion, and being absolutely basically combusted by Terrence in the last fight, Brutal Bilyal seems to have come back, and Stealth Genesis, they're being counted out, and they've gone. Don't quite know what happened to Stealth Genesis, but they stopped moving, giving Brutal Bilyal 3rd place. Now, onto what it's all been coming down to, the grand final. And you couldn't write it, the Christmas themed robot is through to the final, but they're fighting Terrence 3. It's sure to be an absolute belter of a final. Here we go. Well, it's all come down to Terrence 3, Ho Ho Ho. Let's see who is the best of them all in Christmas Carnage. And it's already... Oh! Terrence 3, they're out! One lucky shot, or was it one miscalculated angle, and they've gone flying over the top of the arena wall, giving Ho 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 the victory. You could not write this. Ho Ho Ho, the winners of Christmas Carnage 2024. The irony is immense. Ho 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 have gained the victory over Terrence 3, and it seems like it was Terrence's own fault. They got deflected over the top of the arena wall and they were out. So, as if by a Christmas miracle, Ho 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 have scratched and clawed their way to the final, and they've got the trophy for Christmas Carnage. I have been your host, Eli, and I wish you all a safe, happy Christmas and an amazing new year.
Silence! Oh, I remember the silence on a cold winter day. After many months on the battlefield, and we were used to the violence. Then all the candles went silent, and the snow fell. Voices sang to me from no man's land.